we're back with another episode of Tacoimposters. Okay. I didn't find, I've had it for a while actually, but like the old camera that I used to have, and I used to do things. First of all, this is Tacoimposters for the 23rd of October, 2020. For Friday. Today's Friday. October 23rd, 2020. I have a light here. This light, I think it's LED. I'm not 100% sure. But, good God, it's in my face. I don't have a diffusing thing. Like, this is nice, but I can't still see myself very well. I don't know. This light is way too bright. I just needed a light in here because this is not the brightest place. It's really because up there is the light, right? The light's above this camera, directly above this camera, okay? And we made a shelf, or my mom, or my dad, I don't know, someone long ago, 20 years ago, made a shelf to put things in this, because I'm in a closet right now, because I figured, hey, it's the best place to do, because there's clothes, so it does that, like, but not bouncy thing, and there's nobody here, and I don't have a problem, and I don't hear all this stuff. Anyway, and so this is a closet, and directly above the light, and then they made it's hard to explain, but they made a shelf, right, it's not covering the light, but the light is at an angle where it bounces off of that shelf and just kind of ends there. I mean, it does light up the room, but it kind of ends there. It doesn't come down at me. It would probably work if that shelf wasn't there. So this light is is hitting me now because I needed a light in here, and I'm like, I just pulled out a random extra light because the light that I use, which is diffused. Well, all it is just a regular light with an LED bulb, and then I put 2 pieces of paper over it to diffuse the light. And so this is too bright. This is definitely too bright, but it's also too dark without it. And I don't have extra light, and I don't want to take that light around and move it in places. So right now I'm going to try and deal with this light. Holy crow, not good. So if you see me jerking and jostling around like this kind of stuff, like this and this and this, it's because this light is too bright. But anyway, so yeah, I have an old camera, and I'm looking through like old videos and stuff. I'm just like, now certain things I understand, because I was like, why was some of them produced so badly? Because some of them were off the cuff, and it was fine, and that's fine. I get it, right? But then I was looking at a performance that I watched. Now, it's a performance of like a homeschooling group, okay? And they put on like these performances, end of year performances, right? And they were just like badly set up. Really badly set up. Like, no, okay. It's because I think it's so bad. It's because there were other people making these videos of different things, recording like plays and stuff. Like I did 3 plays. I don't think I've ever talked about this, but I've done three plays with like a homeschooling group, or actually technically 4 plays. The 4th one I never saw the light of day. I never saw if there was a DVD of it ever anywhere. I think there was. I think we just never asked for it, and so like and now we're at that like point of time where it's like it's either too late to ask, or if we do ask, they'll be like, I don't know where that is, like which SD card it was on, or which DVD, if it turned to a DVD, whatever, which I'd like to see it again, but whatever. Anyway, so like there were people making them that were decent. Now I figured out now that I know how I don't know how it all works, but I know a general gist of like how this kind of stuff works. All they did was leave it on a tripod, right? They put it on a tripod and it didn't move. I was like, see right here, I just did it. The thing's not getting me in my face. Anyway. Right? And I was just like, because I was like, why is this so bad? Like, bad. And that's the other thing. The tripod I'm using right now to hold this camera is the same tripod that my dad had gotten 20 years ago, probably. Could have been 25 years ago. He had, like, news, like, he taught a journalism class at a school, okay? Because he was a teacher, he taught journalism, okay? And so they had lots of cameras for, like, journalistic stuff, get pictures, get whatever. And he did, like, a AV, because he ran, like, a variety show. Anyway. So this could have been even longer than that. But I believe this is the one, though, that we got with our home video camera. Like, our personal video camera. So I don't think it was anything, like, that old. It's, like, 20 years old. Anyway, it's still old. But, yeah, like, so this camera, so we did have a tripod. So every time I would see things, where it would be, and the way my dad did things, it was bizarre, because like he'd zoom into random people and like unzoom, and like, cause obviously he didn't know what he was doing. I mean, don't blame him. Like, what's this format focus like? But you would think like you'd want to see everybody most. Like, why would you ever want to zoom into some specific person? Now, of course, he did this stupid parent thing where it's like, oh, I'm gonna zoom into my child, cause you know, and it's like, who cares? And I thought to myself, that's just dumb. So, and I'm thinking, maybe he's thinking, like, he's thinking, okay, fine, I'm going to use it for, like, it's only my personal purposes, I don't care, whatever. But then I see things like, so at my old church, the pastor, that was the pastor when we were there, well, no, actually, yeah, okay, he left, right? And they had a big party, and that party was, I believe the party was filmed. Don't quote me on that. I think the party was filmed for that, because he had like a going away party, right? But then the next day, yes, I'm saying think it was, or it could have been 2 days later, because that one could have been on a Friday night. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. This is like 2010 or 11 or something, so I'm trying to remember now, like, I don't remember. But I think it was either the Friday night or Saturday night, and then the next day, Sunday, for the church service, right? That was his last sermon, last time he ever spoke, right? And so, damn it. And so, my dad recorded that, right? And so, if you go to the library of this church, because this church had a library, which is one of those things where I thought that lots of churches did this, right? Which I'm sure some churches do, but like most don't. So like I was always under the impression that this is what all of them were. They did, you know. Anyway, and I burned that, or we bought a really expensive like DVD burner. Now it wasn't super expensive, but it was like a couple of $100. I was probably like between 150 and like 500, somewhere in that range. I'm sure. And we burned that onto a DVD. Because at the time we didn't know how to like connect it to a computer and burn stuff. And that's the thing. A lot of people probably didn't. This is 2010-11. This is like right when like the novelty of like you have to know how to do this was starting to die away with computers, where everybody can just like figure it out because it's becoming super easy, or learn it or find it somewhere on the internet, right? Anyway, yeah, so we burnt that, and like that's sitting in the library at that church, right? Okay, so you can take it out and watch it. At that time, we didn't edit anything either. Like, that was the other thing we didn't do. We did not edit it at all. We did no editing. I still don't really edit a lot of stuff. If you already noticed this podcast is a straight 45 minutes, or around 45 minutes. Like, anyway, so but that has a whole bunch of these sections of just me. He just zooms into me. And it's like, he kind of probably had this mentality of, yeah, well, it's the only thing that exists of it, so we have to. You could have edited it, or you could have gone to someone. He also had people who would probably know how to do that. So why did he not just figure out like how to make it? But then I think to myself, yeah, but it'd be weirdly edited. Yeah, but if you like weirdly edited and cuts and all this, but yeah, if you transitioned them nicely, you probably could have fixed it in some way. But he just didn't want to, I guess, at the time, and he just didn't care. And he was like, oh, it's all that exists, so just take it or leave it. And I'm sure now you can take out that same DVD, and the same DVD has, like, me, randomly just, like, zooms in of, like, zooms of me, pans over to me, and just zooms, and, like, close-ups of me. It's like, why? I don't know. Anyway. So, like, yeah. Because that's the other thing, okay? So then if you go to stuff like that I did, so then that's out the window, because that idea just is out the window, because he did, it's like, other people did see it, so I don't know what he was thinking, I'm sorry. I don't know what my dad was thinking, I'm sorry. Not that they're all absolutely unwatchable, no, but they're just very strangely like, what? Huh? Why? I don't get it, like, that's the thing. We had a tripod. I don't get why he just, like, refused or didn't want to, like, or just had, like, I don't know. I don't know. See, I still use that camera today. Because I figured out that it can take SD cards. I'm like, oh, that's amazing, and it's a decent camera for things like face cams and stuff for like video games. So I mean, even this podcast, some episodes were recorded on that. Back when I had a big enough SD card, because I had a fake SD card, and now I think it's corrupt and broken and whatever. Because I did something because I added too many files and then overdid it, and then I can't just like, I don't know. Anyway, and you can't go back and like, oh well, all this like, because how they work basically. I'm gonna go into SD cards. Anyway, how they work basically is they're usually just like they're 16 gig cards that are faked into saying they're like bigger, and sometimes it'll roll over itself to make you think that it's actually. What I mean by rolling over, like it'll take the same file, then roll over and like delete or just record over that file to make it seem like there's more. But sometimes you'll get them where it's oh my gosh, where just that's all it has. And then just after that, it just kind of, like it's got 16 gigs or something, or 8 gigs or something. Anyway, so that camera had stuff. Anyway, now I just lost my train of thought for the other thing. So yeah, so that camera was a fake SD card, and I don't know. And I think I put too much stuff on it, and now it's all crapped, and I don't know. Now it doesn't work. Anyway, and I found one that was 2 gigs. It gives me 28 minutes apparently on that camera, so. I mean, hey, it's good for face cam stuff for video games, but it's not good enough for this necessarily. Unless I dump it, and I don't want to do that. Anyway, and I'm fine with using this camera. I'm okay. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so what was I talking about that? Yeah, so going back to like other things, pans, zooms, the personal. Yeah, so that's out the window because other people did see it. But you go back to like plays and stuff, and like you go back to plays and stuff, and the first one he did wasn't half bad. It wasn't particularly good. But okay. Let's go back to the beginning. The plays that I used to do plays. Now these plays were from 2009 to 11? I think so. Yes. I'm trying to remember because I didn't do one in 2012 and I did one in 2013. Or I didn't do one year and then 2013. I'm trying to remember if it was 2 years or 1 year. No, it was 2 years. Is that right? Yes. No, sorry, 1 year. 1 year. It was 1 year. It was only 2011. I'm trying to remember, like. Oh, sorry, 2012. Man. Get it right. 1 year in 2012, I didn't do it. Because I remember going to see it, just to be like, what's going on with it? And the funny thing about that was they did Shakespeare. And you could tell that they were just not Shakespeare people. They were like, oh, what are you doing? They did Midsummer Night's... No. Was it Midsummer Night's Dream? Or did one of the other guys, older people, do it previous years? I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway. Bad. Anyway, theater groups. So these theater groups, right? I was in a theater group, and this theater, like so originally the first one that we did was filmed decently. It's filmed well, honestly, and it wasn't even filmed well. It was just that it was put on a freaking tripod because it was just a stationary shot of the whole stage. I'm trying to remember if there's any like movie pannings of anything, and I don't think so. Maybe one of the two, because we recorded multiple nights. We played 3 nights. I'm trying to remember. Yes, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or did we do Thursday, Friday, Saturday? No, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I think. Anyway, 3 nights, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they recorded multiple nights. And so for the first one, oh, my dad did that too for the second one. But anyway, and maybe even the third. Yeah, the third too. Anyway. And I think the second and third, or the third one, only had 2 nights and not 3. Anyway, the first one had 3, I know that. Or I can remember that. I'm 90% sure it was. Anyway, and so there was different nights. So I don't know whether, like, maybe other nights they tried different things. I don't remember. I only have a DVD of one of them or 2 of them. One of them or 2 of them. So I don't remember. I can only find. I think I do have the DVD for 2 different nights, but I think I can only find the one DVD, which I immediately ripped once I found it again, like 6 months ago, or maybe even a year ago. I don't remember. I found that. I was like, no, I'm ripping this right now. I'm putting this onto like hard drive and like external hard drive and never worrying about it again, or never worrying about the DVD rotting, because that's the other thing. If you don't know, DVDs have something called disc rot, and it's just something that's going to happen to DVDs. It's just the data on the disc just starts rotting away. Like, that's just, sorry, it's gone. And once it starts rotting, it's pretty much just not, that's it. So, anyway. So, and these will happen to these kind of discs. I'm like, oh, those kind of discs I want to get. Those kind of discs. Like, it's not like a VHS where it physically degrades every time you play it. No, it's, or like a tape, like video format where every time you watch it, it degrades it. So, you know. No, this will physically just deteriorate. Anyway. So I have the one. Anyway. So that one was recorded decently. At least decently in a, like, we can see everything. There's no weird, like... And that was the other thing, too. It wasn't like, oh, now I'm going to zoom into him while he's doing something. Like me, like, say. Like, I was going to zoom into me. Well, okay, I want to say this, too. My brother also was in this. So my dad did that, too, where he panned to my brother also. But anyway, it's like, oh, pan to, like, me. And then we'll do a close-up of me while I'm doing something. No, it was like, I could be standing there doing nothing in the scene. Right? I'm going to say something on 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes later, right? On. But then they'll just be like, zoom me, doing nothing, and then somebody's doing something that should be seen? That's just, no. And my dad was, that's not important. It's like, why? And that's the other thing. I don't have good versions of this. So these are the only versions I have of some of these things. So I'm like, but why? And like, okay, so this, so the first one I was talking about, I came up with this homeschooling group of doing, like, I didn't even specify what those were. It was the other one there, so that was me and my musical stuff. And then there was stuff like a play that, like, a different homeschooling group did. And they did musical stuff. Like, they had, like, a band, orchestra. I don't know what you call it. I guess it's an orchestra, kind of? What do you call it? I don't know, like anyway. And they were playing all, like, brass instruments, wind instruments, that kind of stuff. Which I always was like, why? But that's kind of what an orchestra is, so hey, whatever. And, wait, where were they going with that? Wait, zoom into me, think they're doing other things. So they're doing oh yeah. So they did, like, music stuff, and it was just like, for the music stuff, it was just like, why are you zooming into one random person? Why? Where are they going with that? I was talking about zooming into me, and like and something else was happening over on the other side. I don't know, but yeah. And then in the play stuff, it would zoom into like, why are you zooming ever? Just stop right now. Just stop, please. But like, it was like it would zoom into like a part, a close up of some. I said, why? Because it wasn't done well at all. I don't know. It was just weird and bizarre and kind of bad, but it's the only versions I have of these things. Oh yeah, that's what I was going at. Okay, that's the thing. Because the year after, or maybe even 2 years after, I think it was 2 years after that one, because I think that one was in 2011 of this group, and then 2012 they did something else somewhere else, and because they were trying to figure out what to do with everything. I think because the church that they were using, which was the church I was going to at the time, the church they were using was like, I think it was at first it was free, and then they were like, well, now we have to charge you to rent the place, and whatever, and so they were like, ooh. So they went to like, I think it was one of those schools that got transformed into like a community center. Like, I used to go to one of those things for like homeschooling stuff. It was like a school that was transformed into a community center. So it's free, kind of. I don't know, to use, kind of thing. But only at certain times, and you really should be, like, a citizen of that municipality, but they're like, you know, I don't know, I didn't know and they didn't care, I don't know. I don't know much about that. Don't quote me on any of this. I'm not 100% on any of this. I could be speaking straight out of my butt, for all I know. Straight out of my butt. I have no clue 100%. So, but I think that's what they went to there. And then the next year, they made a play at a youth center. It's a Christian youth center. It's hard to explain. It's a Christian youth center. And so they were recording every subsequent one at that point. So this is 2013. So that play. Because I don't think they did a play the year before. I think they did just like a musical, end of year musical thing. Anyway. And then 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. I believe they recorded. but they don't have and it's technically not, okay, I was going to say the first one, but it's technically not even the first one, because in, like, December, I think it was 2000, it could have been 2000, no, I don't think so, I think it was 2010, December 2010, I remember going to, like, with my mom, going to, like, this, like, Christmas thing. It was like a story of, like, St. Nicholas and how he actually became St. Nicholas. But it's very short, very vague, very brief, very, like, quick, and, like, bam. So, anyway. But, yeah, so that was technically the second one, but it was the first real play that they did in 2011, and so they don't have that on DVD anywhere. Like, they don't have any version of it anywhere, because he's talking to one of the guys, and one of the people involved in it, my dad, like, a few years later, and he was like, yeah, we weren't recording at that time. And so my dad has copies of it, but also my dad didn't record, like, everything. And so, like, it'll be this weird, like, chunks, or like, sections, or, like, parts of it are not here. So it'll be weird cuts, and, like, because I wanted to put them all together, but then I think I tried that, I tried that, like, a few years ago, and I was just like, maybe, like, 14, 15, maybe, or 16, I don't know. Anyway, and so I was like, oh, I'll put them together, and then, like, I looked at them, I'm like, oh, wow, there's, like, lots of stuff that's missing in this. What? That was the other thing that was weird. Why would you ever turn off the camera? That I didn't get. Like, that was very, like, but why would you ever turn off the camera? That's just, I don't know. Like, that was, like, the other thing, too. Like, I look back now, I'm like, why would you ever turn off the camera for that stuff? Like, you wanted the whole thing, no? What was your rationality to, oh, I'm going to turn off the camera now? Oh, but I'll immediately have to turn it back on because, I don't know. And it wasn't like an off on, like a cut, like a jump, like, and then it was like maybe a minute or something, or maybe like 30 seconds of, like, or 10 seconds of, like, missed stuff. No, there'd be, like, big jumps. I'd be like big cuts, like, big parts that just were not recorded. I'm like, why? So he wanted to make this, so it would be bad if he made, well, not bad, but it would be, like, weird and jarring and stupid, and I think it wouldn't turn out very well. But again, my dad probably have the same attitude he did for the pastor thing. It would be like, yeah, but it's the only thing that exists. Man, be grateful I got you have anything of it. It's like, yeah, I guess, but I'd rather, like, if we've gone this far without it, this long without it, I think it'd be better just not have one than to have a crappy one. I'm sorry. Like, to have a really bad version of it. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. They might think, oh, no, it's amazing. It's great. We have anything of this. But, you know. Yeah, see, so this cut, you just cut now just because this camera, when it gets to, like, it overheats, and it'll just turn off. It'll just stop recording and then turn off. And I think it's even worse now because I have, like, because, see, this thing, okay, is useful, okay. So I bought I think I talked about this last episode, right? It was that I bought a what's it called, a case for the camera, where this is useful, right? This is really actually useful. I don't see now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I don't see the point of the actual other one, because the other piece goes over, like, the rest of the camera, and this goes over just the lenses. So I put it like this, and it goes over the lens, right? And to me, I don't see the point of it now. Now I'm looking at it, and, like, now that I see that it's making just a lot of problems. Now, I think the reason why they sell it like that is because it's set up. It's because they'd be like, well, why did you only sell that? Like, what about the other part? Like, somebody would have had a complaint. But anyway, that's not the point of anything. But so with this, I think now that I see it's actually making it worse by overheating stuff, I think I'm not going to use it. But hey, like, it makes sense, sure, but, like, anyway, like, it would serve a function, but I don't think it does that much a job. Like, I don't think if I didn't have it, I'd have big problem. Like, I'd see big scratches and all that. I don't know. Anyway, this is a big thing. But anyway, so going back to the other thing. So yeah, maybe so back to the thing about the play stuff. It's like, so maybe they would, this group would think, okay, yeah, we'll get anything, so it's great. So, like, and not that my dad was doing a bad job of any of this, right? No, it's not. It's great that he was thinking about this at all. It's just that we had the means to do it better. Not necessarily, okay, I've been saying it, like, well, like, doing it good. And that is really subjective into, like, well, what's good, right? Anyway, but, like, I'm just saying, like, we had a way to do this better. And we just didn't. So I don't get it. Like, we had a tripod, we had this. It was probably because these were all afterthoughts. I don't know. That's the thing, too, though. But we could bring the freaking... Like, that's the thing. We wouldn't think to do this well with a tripod and a setup and, like, But he would think to bring the camera with him. Like... But, he's like... Also, to him, he's like, this is, like... And it wasn't this, right? But it was like, this. You know, we were holding the camera and it's like this. You know, because you're never going to be able to hold it steady. Ever. Like, ever. Absolutely ever, 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 ever. But, like, so I don't get why, like this tripod. We had this tripod. Like, I never understood why. Maybe the tripod didn't work properly. Maybe we didn't have pieces. Because I know that this, for the longest time, piece that it's on the tripod, like the quick release part, right? Didn't have a screw for the longest time. And we didn't have this, I don't think. I think we found it somewhere. And so I think we might not have been able to use it. Maybe that could have been a reason too, but like, we couldn't have found one, couldn't have gone to a camera store, couldn't have like fixed, I don't get it, like, I don't know. We had, this thing existed, and we still didn't use it. I don't get it. That's the part I don't get. The part, like, but we had ways of making it better. I don't get it, but hey, whatever. Right, so anyway, I don't get it. So, whatever, I don't know. So anyway, like we could have made it better. Now, it wouldn't be, like, perfect, obviously, but, like, it would have been better. Anyway, I don't know. Because that's what baffles me. I'm like, but this, and now, because, like, I'm looking at some of the things on the camera, and I'm like, yeah, for some things, sure, fine. When it was off the cuff, like, just going to some, like, homeschooling event, and we just wanted to, like, record something, fine. That's fine enough. And we didn't have a lot of that, and it wasn't a lot, like, hours of it. Like, it's just, watching these, like, it's jarring, too, because, like, this isn't, like, a couple minutes. This is, like, plays. They're, like, at least an hour. So, like, it's weird, like, to watch it and, like, why? I don't, like, it's just jarring, and you don't want to watch it, like, oh, what? Whoa. Nauseating, kind of, almost. I don't know. Why? Anyway. I'm not saying it's horrible, because the great thing, my dad thought of doing this at all. It's just, like, recording all the stuff at all. But it's just, it could have been better. Anyway. And it could be thinking, like, it could be the same mentality. He might have had this mentality of, like, going back to, like, way when I was a child. He recorded, like, almost all of my child. Like, I'm not even joking. He recorded, like, okay, maybe more like 60 or 70% of my childhood. You know how people have thousands of pictures? I have thousands of hours of videos. I have hundreds of hours of videos of me doing things as a child. It's crazy. So maybe he had that, like, home movie kind of style, like, it's fine, like, it's good, whatever. I don't know what he was thinking. Anyway, it's not bad, but I don't know what he was thinking. But anyway, that's something, I got, like, so much, minutes out of that. I got, like, 30 minutes out of it. Wow. Anyway, but yeah, so, maybe that's what he was thinking. I don't know. Because, I was going to say, he's seen other things. He's been involved in productions that were done, like, properly better. So what was his, I don't know. He never thought of, like, a tripod. I don't know. It was like, it's like what I say when I say emulation, right? I talk about emulation. And I don't know if I've said this on the podcast. I probably have. But it's this, I think the PSP is one of the best emulation things ever. Because it's physical buttons. Now, the PS Vita is probably a little bit better. I've never used one. But personally, I think the PSP is the best. Because it does it all fine. And it's got physical buttons. It feels better. It works to emulate things. Right? But I never think to bring the PSP anywhere. But I always have my Android phone on me. So it's better in a more accessible, like, I will always use that because I always have it on me. Like, I never remember to bring that with me. You know what I mean? So maybe that's the thing, like, he thinks to record things, he just never thinks to bring, I will never think of bringing, like, anything else with it. I don't know. That's just my thinking to it, maybe? I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, that's that, and that's it. And so, maybe I'll show some of these plays one day. I don't know. I'm thinking of maybe doing it, but then I realized, but if everyone else in the play because you could technically be sued for its distribution. I don't know if this is the technical terms, the legal terms. I'm not a lawyer, so please take this with a grain of salt. I'm not a lawyer, so don't use this for your own personal use. Please don't. But I'm not a lawyer. I don't know this for a fact, but I heard somewhere it's something like distribution without consent. You can be sued for distribution without consent. Now, again, I don't know if that's a legal term, but it's basically like showing it anywhere without the consent of everybody involved in the thing. And I think there's like a technical term if you're going to talk about a movie where like distribution without, like you don't have the distribution rights to something. That I know is a thing. I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure is a thing. It's like when you want to show a movie. It's like when movie theaters show old movies. They have to go find whoever had the distribution rights, right? So for something like let's say Friends or Seinfeld, right? They have to go to the like someone like Netflix who bought them, right? Had to go to the person who had distribution rights to it and buy it from them, the distribution rights, and they don't even. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's very much like it's not. They don't own. They still don't own Seinfeld or Friends, but they now have bought a license to distribute them, like the distribution rights to distribute them. So don't quote me on that, but I think that's how that works. So that's why I've never shown any videos. So I thought of doing that, but I'm like, but I can't without like people crapping. And I don't think anybody would really care. It's just that there's that like looming thing of like, oh no, I could at any moment be sued. I could be sued. Like it's like the same thing. There's a Tom Scott video, right? I don't know what it's exactly called, but it's like going to Hollywood or something like that, right? And then he's got the sign in the background, and he's got all these things, and it's like technically I can't show. I shouldn't be. Technically I can't show this, and I can't say the name, but everybody does it anyway, so it's not a big deal. But technically somebody can sue me. It's kind of like the happy birthday thing. You're technically not allowed to play like in like YouTube videos or something or stuff like that online. You're not allowed to like sing the happy birthday song because it's copyright. But everybody does it because they're just like whatever, and it's happy birthday, right? But technically you could be sued, like not sued. You could get a copyright claim or whatever. Like it's copywritten, so like you could have legal problems with it. But people do it anyway because they don't really care or don't know necessarily. Anyway, but that's a whole different thing. I could talk about the little I know about copyrights some other time. I know very little about copyrights, but I know enough things to where I don't think I would personally ever get caught into this like copyright thing. But then there's like little things I don't know, so I could get caught up in these like technical things. I don't know. That's just a different thing to talk about anyway. But yeah. I was watching a video. I was watching a video called, I don't remember what it was called. Oh, it was called Good Mythical Morning. What WTF video? It overheated again, and it cut off again. So this camera, just 360 cameras in general have that problem, from what I've heard. It's not a Gear 360 problem, Gear 360 2017 problem. This one in particular is particularly bad, but they're all like that. Like it's a little bit worse, but they're all like that. So. Apparently, from what I've like looked up and read, like they're all like that. They're not supposed to be played for a long time. Like I couldn't live stream with something like this. Like now I can't even get 45 minutes out of live streams. I used to be able to get an hour and a half out of them, but I think also the battery's now old and it's gone through lots of cycles, so I don't know. It could be really bad. Anyway, so that's not important. But anyway, I was talking about the video I saw. It was by someone called Scott Kramer. And I'll try and link the video. I'll link the video in the description if I remember. Go look up Scott. It's like, or maybe it won't even. I'll just say anyway. Scott Kramer, and it's Good Mythical Morning WTF. And basically, okay. So they were okay. I've got to preface. Not preface. I got to go back to the beginning of this like whole story I'm going to tell you. So in 2014. I don't know what the heck the video was exactly, but there was something about, like, old products or old drinks or something, and they, in the Good Mythical More of that episode, they stumbled upon some kind of like, they're like, I remember this drink that we remembered, right? They just like, it's like, it was one of those things that, oh, we're talking about, when like, you don't remember how you remember this thing, but it's like, oh, well, it's because like, oh, we're talking about drinks and like, and then randomly this thing comes up that has nothing, like, nobody talked about it, nothing had anything to do. Well, that's what happened there. I think Rhett was very much like, oh yeah, like, because they were talking about drinks in some way, and so they were like old drinks, and then or Link went clearly Canadian, and then Rhett went clearly Canadian. I remember that stuff, like, and then they looked up what's the status of clearly Canadian. Can you still get one? Right? Is it possible to get one? Is it good? Like, right? And so they went on the website and found, or went, like, Googled them, I think, and then found out that they were trying to bring it back, or like they were like, we might be able to bring one back. Like, you could help us bring back clearly Canadian. What the website was kind of trying to be like, right? And so they were like, hey, this is a great thing. So for $30, you get a case of clearly Canadian, which really, it's actually expensive because they never explain and in that video, Scott never explains it either. I think it's Scott anyway. Anyway, Scott, he never explains what a case was, because that's the thing. He goes into a whole thing of like, the fact that he bought a case, and he got a case. Okay, because I gotta preface why they made him do this, well, or why he wanted to do this specifically. But he got a case, and he didn't explain what a case was. Is it case 6? Is it case 12? Is it case 24? Is it case 8? Is it case 32? Like, is it a 24-pack, a 12-pack, a 6-pack? Like, he never explains that. And I don't think they ever explain it either, and I don't know if it ever gets explained anywhere. But, like, he goes into the whole thing of, like, okay, so they're like, get a case for $30. And really, that's kind of expensive. From what he was saying, it's expensive. Like, and yeah, it's not expensive. So the whole point, so get a case, we can bring back clearly Canadian. And then he goes, and we will do a live stream and a live studio tour if you buy clearly Canadian. And you get a ticket when you buy clearly Canadian. And so Scott's just like going into the whole thing of how he bought one, and how people were looking into like, well, where did this go? Like, because that's the thing, it never happened, and so the whole thing was just like, what? Like, and still to that day, and that video was recorded in like, I don't know, February or something of like last year or something, and so and so he's looking into like what happened to it, like what happened, why did it never happen, was mentioned, and like people are still to this like day asking what's going on with this. Because in the video, well, actually I don't know about to this day, but you know what I mean, like in the video there were posts on places like in the comments of some videos, and then there were posts in like Redland community, and then there were posts in like there's some subreddits where it's like, well, what happened to this? Where's it going? What happened? And so you see, now here's what I think happened, okay? And so that never happened. It was the whole buy a bottle. Oh yeah, and we're gonna crack them open all together. That was the big thing too. And so in that video, that Scott made, in the Scott video, right? He pulls out like a bottle and goes, "I'm not cracking this because I have this like weird like hope, like what's it called? Fleeting hope of like just like, oh, it could happen. Like, you could still, one day." So he's just leaving it just in case like they ever come back and be like, yeah, and we're actually gonna do, Now here's what I think happened. Okay, I think Clearly Canadian, the company that they found in 2014, was a holding company. Now let me explain what that is. A holding company is basically a company that you hold the name. So like, wow, this light is hot. Jesus, light is hot. Anyway, so it's like, so I'll give you an example. Atari. All Atari is now is a holding company. I think it's like two guys in France or something. Yeah, see, I'm in a different shirt now because I realized that I didn't have an ending to that video. The video kind of just cuts there. I'm sorry. ending to the podcast. So sorry, I have to add an ending here. So if you want to get in touch with me, there's the the email, tacoimposters@gmail.com. There's the Discord, and there's the Patreon. If you want to see better quality content for any of this, please support me on Patreon. You can get some stuff out of it too. It's cool stuff. Anyway, yeah. Tell me what to do with everything. Tell me what to do with the channel. Tell me what to do with the podcast. What topics to talk about. Tell me what to do with this 360 camera. Tell me what Halloween stuff to watch. Maybe it's a little late for that, but tell me what things to watch, what movies to watch, what books to read, everything. Just So, yeah. And I might play this week before Halloween a few Halloween games. I don't know exactly how many, but at least one, because I know I have one guaranteed I can play. And the rest I don't know. So I think I'll do that. So I think that'll be it for now, guys. So adios, mi amigos.